Right, yes. So we're talking about Gazillion 2.0, so I figure it's kind of important to ask what Gazillion 1.0 was like, so you can kind of understand how there was a transition and there's a difference now.
Okay. Well, first of all, good morning.
Good morning.
How are
Is
you?
it still morning? I feel like I've been up forever.
Well, I don't know. I guess we got about 10 minutes.
We got about 10 minutes there. There's a grace period.
So the company had been around since 2006, and it was initially started out as a massive multiplayer online idea by a few guys, John Romero being the kind of big creative name in the deal, and Rob Hutter, who really sort of saw an educational bent, because at the time there was that was not a thing, but MMOs were very popular. So that was probably the first 3 years of the company, and they raised a lot of money, and then everything started to change in 2009 when Rob went down to LA and he got this license to make this Marvel MMO.
This is before Marvel's, a big deal now, but it's not like it is today, right? Where it's this giant IP.
No, I mean this is 2009, so they were doing okay, but it was nothing like it is the juggernaut that it is today. It's the #1 IP in the world, and back then though, we had a bunch of people in the company that loved the Marvel comics, and getting this deal. In fact, what was happening was Microsoft and another company called Cryptic were going to actually be making the game that we ended up making, but that deal or project ended. The rights reverted back to Marvel. Rob went down and got them, and signed a very long-term deal to be able to make this game. So, and then he did something really, really smart. He went to Flagship Studios, and he got David Brevik, who had created Diablo, and convinced David to come and make basically a Marvel game. And Dave obviously is the real creative genius behind this, and he just did an amazing job getting it to the point.
So then what went wrong?
Oh my God. So I think that it was a very ambitious project. And it was an ambitious project that was set against a timeline that was set and agreed to by both Marvel and Gazillion. And as time went on and they got closer and closer to the deadline, it became very clear that the game was going to end up initially launching before it was done. And I think if you could go back in time, and I was not here at this point. I invested in the company right after that. That they probably would have wanted to keep a beta tag on it for a while, because once they actually got the money, in fact we funded that round to be able to finish the game. A year later, when they really had a finished product, they rebranded as Marvel Heroes 2015, and they got an 81 Metacritic, and it's been like that for the last 3 years. It's really been a wonderful relationship with our PC player community, but obviously things are about to change in a really big way.
Right, so very recently you guys have just launched the console beta for the game, and talking to you before, it seems like that was always your goal. You were very intent on getting this console version of the game up, and you said at one point you lost the console license, right? You only had the PC license to make this Marvel game.
Well, Gazillion lost the license.
Right.
I got it back. But that's absolutely right. And for the very first time, okay, so the first time that I actually saw the game, I saw it on a PC screen, and my immediate impression was, wow, there's a lot going on here. And I just felt like I would really like to see it, in a bigger format. So a week later, I went back, and they had set their PC up to the biggest big screen that they had in the company. It was this big 60-inch thing, and I went, oh my God, this is just, fucking awesome. And so we made the investment in the company. In the first board meeting, I got up there and I said, I don't care what we do, this game has got to go to console. if we can ever get this thing onto the PS4 and the Xbox, we will absolutely kill it. And I was just absolutely convinced. So when I became CEO, that initially became my, well, that actually wasn't initially what I needed to do, but once I came to the conclusion that I wanted to invest and lean in and really, really build this company and save it, I knew where we needed to go. Getting to the console with this game became, you know, the thing for me, and it was very binary. If we don't go to console, we don't have a business. And then I will tell you one other thing, which is, as much as I felt like we really, really had something, it wasn't until the game went live in beta 10 days ago, and about 24 hours later, I woke up and I saw the initial numbers coming in, and I went, oh my God. So the last week and a half has been, yeah, I'm finally sleeping. And it's probably been the most incredible validation that I've ever had in my life.
So let's go back a little bit. So you're an investor, you become CEO. How does that transition happen?
It happens when the CEO of the company, David Brevik, decides that he wants to move on. I think he was tired of running the company. He had an idea for an independent thing that he was going to do, and obviously we were in a really tough spot. So what happens is then you're down to 3 guys on the board. The other 2 guys are very heavily involved with their projects. And then my partner, Roth Gordon-Fallon, basically looks at me and he goes, look, Dorman, you got us into this. You got to get us out. And so that's how it happens.
So what are you thinking? You know, you're in there now, you're CEO, you're looking around. What do you see? What do you think needs changed?
What do I think needs to be changed?
Yeah. Well, yeah, just like when you go into, what are your goals?
Back then, I thought you meant today.
No. Right when you go in.
Okay, because the last thing today was literally the one thing that's been absolutely killing me is we've had this major issue over the last month with coffee. So we finally got this coffee machine in that's like insane.
Oh.
And my chairman, Tom Kalinske, who's the CEO of Sega Mattel, he's a big coffee guy. So, you know, he's also the chairman, so he'll come in there and we'll be sitting down, hey Dorman, can you go get me a coffee?
So the coffee situation
he's flexing the chairman muscle.
Right.
Hey, Dave, yeah, like a little light on the cream. So anyway, going back in time, well, there was a lot that we needed to do, Mike. You know, the Marvel relationship was really fragile at that point. And the first thing that I needed to do was to make sure that we were going to be okay. And you know, I'll tell you one sort of story about it. I went down and within the first 2 weeks, and I met with Jay Ong, who's the head of Marvel Games, and you know, I said, listen, I'm new. I'm dropping in here. Just talk to me. Tell me what's been going on. And Jay had been in that seat for about a year. And one of the things that he pointed out was he said, you know, we feel, and when I say that, he says, he's talking about Marvel, he says, we feel like sometimes you guys think that you're the only company that's licensed our IP. So, well, tell me what you mean by that. He said, I can't tell you how many times. In fact, it's every time. You want to release a new character, you want to release a new costume, whatever it is that you're doing, you call us up the day before you want to do it. You give us no lead time. And we can't operate that way now. So, as an example, when I got back, I had a town hall meeting and I talked to my entire team and I said, we got to change the way that we do things. So Guardians of the Galaxy comes out on Friday, and I got to see it last week at the premiere, dude.
It's one of those Marvel licensing perks, huh?
I'm telling you, I'm such a big Baby Groot guy. Like, you guys are gonna love this, love Baby Groot. So I go back and I tell my team, I said, this needs to change. So 3 weeks ago, every single thing that we're doing for Guardians of the Galaxy, and we have a huge thing that's happening this week, was done, and it was approved. So the way that my team has been able to respond and the way that we've changed the culture of the way that we do things and how we approach licensing RP with Marvel is really big. The second thing that I needed to do, and this was a really big one, was that I had a very, very talented team. But man, I mean, everybody had one foot out the door, and we were losing a ton of people. And if you lose your team, what do you have? You have nothing. And so, you know, you could sit out in front of a bunch of your team and talk a bunch of bullshit and lie through your teeth, but that's just not the way that I am. And so basically I told them, I said, and very clearly, I don't know if we're going to make it. We have a lot of challenges in front of us. We don't have any money. You know, I understand we're losing good people. I've got to work with Marvel. But I've just come back from LA, and I can tell you this much, like, there's a window of opportunity here. I want to take this game to the console. I need to get them their head around the fact that we can do this. I'm going to then need to prove to them, and I'm going to need to lean in, but I'm willing to do it. And so I went to Roth and I went to Oak, and they've been incredible, you know, partners and so incredibly supportive the whole way. And I said, this is going to cost us money, but if we pull this off, there is a huge, huge win for everybody. And I said, you know, let's do this. Let's check in every month. Don't give me all the money at once. Let me prove to you that I can knock down this checklist. And as I was telling you in the back, I mean, that's what I did up until this very point. So my investors needed to have faith. My team needed to have faith. I needed to be able to prove to everybody on both sides that we were up to the challenge. And I asked people to lean in with me, and it's been incredible the way that people have just, you know, done so much over the last 18 months to be able to pull all this off, and the proof is now there. I mean, it's just been, like I said, it's just been an incredible ride.
Right, and you know, just kind of talking to you, I get the sense that you're this very open guy, especially if you're employees. You're talking about these town halls and things that you're holding. Is that just something that you just bring as like part of your personality, or just like the decision that you made of how you want to operate as a CEO?
No, it's my personality, man. You know, look, the thing is that when I first got there, it was really awkward, and I didn't know anybody because I'd been on the board and I only had a couple of points of contacts, and I think people were scared and not knowing what was going on. So after I sort of did that first thing and I sort of addressed everybody, and by the way, I mean, the way that I closed on that meeting was I told them, like, I am going to put everything on the line for this. Everything. I'm going to throw everything that I have. Every tool that I have in my playbook, it's all going to go in. I'm going to do this because I looked around the room. You have, at that point in time, about 75 people. Today we're at about 130, but I guess 75 people. These are people that have families, man. You know? Do you know what that's like to be able to go home and worry that you're going to get laid off and where you're going to get your next job or whatever? And that literally was the kind of thing where I'm like, I am not going to fucking let this happen. It is not going to happen. I'm going to make sure that we're going to be okay. And for the last 18 months, you know, this team has become my family. And, you know, I would stand in front of a train for them because of the quality of people that they are. And so yeah, I mean, I used to work for this guy who was the CEO who knew maybe 3 or 4 people really well in the company, and we had a company of about 300, and I knew everybody because I became the guy that would like go out, and so I knew everything that was going on. This was a software company, but the developers, the product managers, the marketing people, the sales people, the IT, even the IT guys or whatever. That's just my nature. Like, I hate walking around and not knowing who somebody is. And so then the other thing that I did was I also found that these town hall things were great, but, you know, it's kind of like, you know, if this was, you know, twice as big. So I started doing these lunches where I basically, every quarter, I'll sit down with maybe 10 people. So it takes me a couple of weeks to get through the whole thing. but I really want to check in, and I just say, you know, tell me what you've been working on and how's it going, and then I tell them what, you know, what I've been doing, and I think in a way, it helps me be able to have a more, you know, fraternal connection with everybody. Like I've never even saw myself really as a CEO. I just feel like I'm part of this team, and I'm on this mission to be able to build something that's truly spectacular.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so you're building up this relationship with your team, and you're talking about that Marvel relationship.
Yeah.
And one thing that I think is really interesting about that is kind of how the game just took on more of the Marvel Cinematic Universe aspect of it, which leads into these tie-ins and stuff like that. And I know, like, the original start of the game, you know, you were in Hell's Kitchen, which is more of a Daredevil setting, and then you're running into Black Widow or Black Cat, some characters not really that involved or that well known to people who aren't familiar with the cinematic universe. And now it's Captain America, it's Ultron, and you know, it's something that people can get into a lot faster. And I imagine that has to not only be good for the game, but it has to make Marvel happy.
Well, the first week that I got in there as CEO, I have 2 teenage boys, and I asked them and about 20 of their friends to come to our office. And I wanted to see what their response was going to be to our game. And a couple of really, really important things came out of that hold true today. The first one was that nobody knew the Black Cat. Nobody understood the whole Hell's Kitchen thing. That, you know, these are kids that, you know, they're a product and a creature of the cinematic universe. And to be honest with you, I am too. That was where, you know, I had focused. I wasn't a big Marvel comic guy as much as I am a big Marvel movie guy. The other thing was that nobody knew our game. Like when I asked them all, like, how many people have heard of our game? They all thought I was talking about Contest of Champions. But here's the thing. 10 minutes into the deal, when they were all playing it, I just looked around and I just saw nobody gave a shit. I mean, if they could have been out of there, they would have been out of there. And then 2 hours later, nobody wanted to leave. Because our game is amazing. It's so addictive. It's so fun to play. They get engrossed in these characters, whether that's Spider-Man or Hulk or Thor or Black Widow. But it became very, very clear that we needed to change the front end. We needed to bring you in. It's that first impression thing. Tom Kalinske says to me, you know, you get one shot to be able to capture that person's imagination where they go, you know, fuck yeah, I want to play this thing. This is awesome. It's like a movie trailer. Mm-hmm. How many times have you gone to a great movie trailer and then you've seen it and then you see the movie and you go, oh, God. Well, we were the opposite. We were like the thing with the shit trailer and then the great fucking game. But you needed to get to that point. And we live in a world of ADD, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, yeah, okay, who's the Black Cat? Well, okay, I'll do a little Instagram story, and then, you know, God, I'm hungry, right? Right, but you know, the thing is that when you look at the data and you look at our PC community, we have so many players that have been there from the get-go, and they love everything that they do because they saw beyond the beginning. But I can't do that now. I have a global IP that I have, and I want to be able to reach everybody. So everything about my game needs to kick ass. And that's what I've been doing for the last 18 months, is making sure that that was going to happen.
Right, and then just naturally reaching this larger audience because you're going to console. And we talked about you're in beta right now, and it's launching for, you know, for real pretty soon, right?
For reals, dude.
For reals, for realsies.
It's going down, man. The game drops on May 23rd. Mm-hmm. So basically, what is that, 3 weeks from today? Yeah. 2 days in front of my birthday.
Ooh, happy birthday.
I was kind of angling maybe we'd launch on my birthday.
Oh.
You know, the fact of the matter is the game's ready to go now. We are so pleased with the way this has gone. We have spent no money yet on marketing. All of the activity that's happening with the game, and you got to pay to get in right now, is viral. The word of mouth has been incredible. The feedback has been incredible. We know what we have, but Ivan Suluk, who's my CMO, so he made the ad buy, like we're doing this big thing, but he made it before we went into beta. So we are like locked into that date. And if I decided that I wanted to launch tomorrow, he'd probably, you know, break into my house and shave my head.
That's great. So what else is Gazillion kind of working on? Are there anything else that's on the future besides this big Marvel license?
Where is Ed Nunziata here? He didn't make it? See this blonde? Kimberly, stand up. Stand up for a second. This is one of my producers, Kimberly Unger, everybody. So Kimberly and my partner Ed have basically been going to be producing our next big game. We have a major game coming out with CBS that I cannot yet divulge what it is, but it is a massive IP, and we are over the moon, and we're working really, really closely with CBS on this. We have access to all the scripts. It's an upcoming television show that they're in production on right now, and then
I think we can narrow that down a little bit, but.
You draw your own conclusion. But we're really happy. CBS has been amazing to work with, and it's mobile and VR. So not only are we expanding into console, but we're now expanding into mobile and virtual reality. We're super excited about it. CBS saw a demo of something that we were working on last summer that we also haven't announced yet with Marvel. And Erica Winterhaller, who's the head of licensing at CBS, literally put on our Samsung Gear and then was holding out our augmented reality piece of it. And she was like, oh my God, you need to do this for blank. And we went, yes, we do. And so, so we've been working on that since last summer.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I think that was great. It's interesting just how in this new age of games as a service, you can have a game that's been around for a few years and just now feels like it's really hitting this big stride and reaching this bigger audience and getting all this excitement around it.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's really been great, and we're super excited for the PS4 formal launch and the Xbox formal launch, and now just getting around the idea of building a great business. And we now know that we are on our way.
Awesome. All right, Dave, thank you very much.
Hey, man, thank you. Thanks for having me, everybody. Thank you very much.
Everyone.